Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Mitchell Hour. Today we're going to be talking about the mother, Raven Yates. It is a 31-year-old African-American mother who, I'll just play the clip and I'll come back. Me and Corey will come back with the rest of our commentary.
Montgomery County mother is wanted by police in 2 different states tonight after investigators say her 2 young children were found in deplorable living conditions.
The 12 and 3-year-old were left alone to fend for themselves for nearly 2 months. ABC 13's Brooke Taylor is live outside the home where all of this happened. Brooke?
Yeah, all of this really hard to believe. Now, the mom left about a few months ago, but they moved into this home a year ago, and the children were never enrolled in school in Texas. So officials tell me it was really easy for all of this to just go unnoticed. Inside this home, a nightmare for 2 young children, 12 and 3 years old. Roman Forest Police Chief Stephen Carlisle says they were abandoned for nearly 2 months.
There was no food in the house. Everything was empty. There was some dry beans and some spices is about it.
Their mother, Raven Yates, left them in late September, he says. There's been a warrant out for her arrest since December. Investigators say the 12-year-old never told anyone because she was threatened by what might happen to her little brother. They have different fathers.
And she was afraid that her father was going to take her and leaving the 3-year-old by himself.
Fearful, she obeyed. She'd call her father, saying mom was working and he would send food. According to police, he's a music producer in California. He called police once family members spotted Yates in Mobile, Alabama, where she's from, without her kids.
When he got a call from his ex-mother-in-law and they put 2 and 2 together, he caught the first plane over here.
Investigators shocked to see how they were living.
The officers checked the bedroom of the children and discovered heavy urine odor coming from the 3-year-old's bed.
Yates continues to be active on social media, posting to her thousands of followers as investigators work with Mobile police to arrest the 31-year-old's mom. She's wanted on 2 counts of abandoning or endangering a child without intent to return. She hasn't responded to our messages.
A 12-year-old cannot take care of a 3-year-old for a long period of time. It's dangerous, especially over a month and a half. It's dangerous, it's irresponsible of a parent.
Now, Yates also has a 14-year-old girl. She was reported as a runaway around the same time when police say she left the younger children. Tonight, though, police tell me all 3 children have been reunited. They are safe and they are with a family member in Alabama. We're live in New Caney. I'm Brooke Taylor, ABC 13.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so you heard and saw the clip. Corey, what do you think about this whole situation?
Well, I can't understand how a mom can leave her kids to fend for themselves at that young of an age. I just don't understand that. So I don't get it. I don't get it. I was rather shocked when I read the story, but I don't understand. I don't understand. Somebody just don't want their kids, but really?
All right, so let's do it step by step. So let's look at the timeline. So looks like the mother left September 28th of 2022. Mm-hmm. The kids were found alone November 14th of 2022. So everybody's talking about the mother. But I want to talk about the dads. I've been searching and searching and searching. I couldn't really find that much information about the dads. Mm-hmm. Now, I know some great dads, and I know that none of this would happen to their kids.
Oh, yeah.
Because, how could you live in another state? Okay, I get it. You're making your money. Y'all not together no more, whatever. But you're living in another state, and your 12-year-old daughter calls you and said, "Hey, Dad, can you send us some food? He's like, where's your mom? Oh, she's working, right? There's just something more to this story, in my opinion, because it doesn't make sense, okay? She owns a little boutique that is very successful from what I've read. She was living in a $500,000 house. So my thing is this. Why was there no food in the house? And why were none of the other fathers involved? The only reason that everything got kind of sorted out is because Raven Yates' mother called the 12-year-old father and said, hey, we see her out here, but we don't know where the kids are. And then he said he hopped on a plane and he went down to Texas. Mm-hmm. But to get back to my original point is, how could your daughter call you a couple of times and ask for food, and you know that her mother is pretty successful? Like, what were these fathers doing?
It could be a number of things, but you know when you have bad breakups, you be surprised on both ends how selfish individuals can get,
right?
In spite of the kids, you know what I mean?
Right. Man, but is that the man? I know stuff is crazy, but I couldn't imagine me and my wife and the mother of all four of my kids having a bad breakup and getting divorced, and I'm like, well, fuck you and the kids.
Yeah. But you do have some individuals that's not as mature that, if they can't have a woman, they don't want the woman or the kids. You have situations like that, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I understand. So let's go a little bit more over the story. So once Miss Yates' mother called the 12-year-old girl's father, he immediately hopped on a plane from California. He's a so-called music producer out there. He came, and this was November 14th. And he had talked to the cops, and he said, yo, I don't know what's going on. We can't find her, blah, blah, blah. Now, I think the craziest thing of it all is the reason that they was able to stay in that house for almost 2 months and nobody knew anything is because neither one of them were registered in school.
Right. So yeah, that would draw some red flags. But the other thing is that if people knew the kids were like that lived in it, if they knew they lived in that neighborhood and they hadn't seen them, or the mama, I think that would have been a red flag.
But what's also crazy that a lot of people not talking about, at least I haven't seen anybody talk about, when something goes on like this in different neighborhoods and different places, they always talk to the neighbors.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You always got the neighbors out there. Right. Oh, yeah, they didn't talk to us too much, but I saw there was a little boy and there's a little girl and blah, blah, blah. Like, there was nobody talking, no neighbors that came out and talked. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird that her mother called the 12-year-old's father and said, we saw her out here. Now nobody knows where she is. Like the father's back in California. Three of the kids, because she did have a older daughter that's 14 that was listed as a runaway when all this stuff happened.
Right.
It's just a crazy situation, and none of it makes any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't.
You have that big house. Now, okay, when you found the kids, there was no food in the house.
Right.
Did they eat all the food because they were in there by themselves for so long? I mean, it's like the story's kind of vague. It's like, yeah, it was nothing but beans and spices. But they're not saying nothing else. No interview of the neighbors. The father didn't even get on there and say, hey, I'm worried, this is my daughter. I'm worried about where her mother is. Like, nobody in the family is speaking. I don't know what the hell is going on.
Well, a lot of it might be, now that it's made the news, how, depending on how it plays out, her family probably closed ranks as far as on, her mother and everything. They probably we ain't gonna say nothing because, this is embarrassing, and you know what I mean? So they probably don't have no statement. They probably tried to talk to the family, but it's like, well, ain't no comment. You know what I mean? So, it might be that. But for the father to just, that's strange. It's just strange.
Yeah, this whole story doesn't make any sense. Let's see here. Like I said, it was the oldest daughter is 12 and the little boy was 3. The police said when they went in the house, it was a strong smell of urine. I don't know, man. And it's like a lot of people are, even on the little clips that I put out on the YouTube page, like a lot of people is coming in and saying, oh, maybe something happened to her. Some people are saying we shouldn't talk bad about her until we find out what happened. But I think the way certain sites, news sites and certain blog sites, is like their heading are different. One I saw says mother on a run after abandoning her children.
I saw that.
Yeah, one says mother is missing after children found in the house alone. So it's very conflicting stories that are out there right now. Now, I think why a lot of people are she's getting a bad end right now is because according to the news outlets and certain articles that I did read, she was posting on social media.
I'll see.
I don't know. Now, usually when, especially being a black woman,
Right.
when stuff like this happens, you know how they portray certain people in the media.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
if she was a bad person,
Right.
if she didn't take care of her kids or whatever,
Right.
all that information would have been out. It would have been plastered all over the news.
Oh, yeah. Court records, everything. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. This whole story doesn't make any sense. A loving mother, from what I've read, a successful mother, from what I've read, just randomly leaves after her 14-year-old daughter is listed as a runaway. She's from Alabama.
Right. Okay.
So it's like you leave Texas and you go to Alabama. You don't have nothing to do with your mother that's out there in Alabama and your other family members, but they seen you around. And they said, hey, we don't know where the kids are. We've seen her. And nobody makes any statements. Nobody says anything. Nobody knows where she is. And it's, the media, they would have pulled up a sketchy background.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
none of this makes any sense. This is like just popped out of nowhere. Oh, yeah, I'm just going to leave.
Right. So, okay, now you said that, the family has stated that they have seen her, but is anybody not? So nobody approached her when they saw her?
Like the clip that I posted, they said that the father said the only reason that he hopped on the plane to come out here is because Miss Yates' mother called and said, hey, she's out here. I've seen her around, but she doesn't have the kids. They really didn't go into detail about if they approached her or whatever. I'm assuming probably not, because they said, oh, I saw her around without the kids.
Right.
So it makes me think, number one, why would she just randomly leave Texas to go to Alabama if you're not going to have any dealings with your people that's out there, especially your mother? Because the only thing you really had to do was just, you got money, so get your kids on a plane or bus, whatever, and then your 12-year-old and your 3-year-old, Mom, can you watch out for the kids for a little bit? I got some stuff I got to do.
Right.
And now she's missing. Well, I'm not gonna say she's missing, but nobody can find her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know this story, and I know listeners, people that's watching me on YouTube, y'all might not agree with me when I say this, but every single time an African American does something a little sketchy, they dig up the past like a mug. And they post all types of stuff. So the fact that we're not finding anything negative, there's nothing negative posted on her except these pictures, and the only thing negative that they're saying is that she was posting on not Instagram, but social media sites to her thousands of followers while her kids were at home by themselves. It has to be more to the story.
Right. If nobody talked to her, I think that her family might have been, maybe she's estranged from her family.
They didn't really specify that, but I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah, because I know for a fact that I couldn't be nowhere and a family member see me somewhere and we in the same area and not approach me or holler or blow the horn or something.
You know what? You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because if they were close or whatever, like, why? Like I said, why wouldn't she just bring the kids out there and just, hey, Mom?
Yeah, it's something.
And how long was she in Texas? Because how long were you out there? Because why weren't the kids registered for school?
And
This happened in September. Okay. I don't know when Texas goes to school, but September. So, and they didn't really specify if this is a new house with there's furniture in it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's a lot of variables that nobody's really talking about. But like I said, from everything that I've seen, there's really nothing negative out there about her. Right. Actually, there's not really too good out there either, other than she's a successful business owner. They didn't specify the other two children. The 3-year-old, where's his father or his other grandparents? The 14-year-old girl that ran away before all this started, nobody said anything about that. Now, at the end of the clip, you saw what they said. They said, well, she has, all of the kids, the 14, the 12, and the 3-year-old, are all in Alabama with a family member.
Right. So, I don't know. Maybe authorities, whoever is still investigating, I think they're trying to control the narrative and not release a whole bunch of information, which is, even a news outlet, they don't have anything. Back in 2001, she was arrested for,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying with all these different things that go on, with people with, a little melanin in their skin. What happens is they will pull up something from you taking a picture that with a bandana on when you was in the 10th grade. They're going to find something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or have some crazy neighbor or an estranged family member come up, start talking crazy about you.
Right.
The fact that nobody's saying anything, it just, I don't know, man. But I'm on different sites and I'm seeing people is just kind of making some stuff up, like saying that the fathers are this. And I'm like, where are they getting their information? Like, you can go and I shouldn't say this, but I was at work, you know what I'm saying, typing this stuff on the computer, like, yo, I need to find out her baby daddies, where is this person? I couldn't find anything. So a lot of people, and this one lady, I'm not even going to put her name out here, she has a lot of followers on TikTok. And what she did was, she was like, oh yeah, she's been active as a couple of days ago. Now, the video of hers that I watched was 4 days old. So, as, this weekend, she was saying that, Baller Alert had posted something about this story, and she was active as close as this past weekend.
Right, right.
Now, unless she posted a picture of herself,
Right.
that doesn't necessarily mean that that was her.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. From everything that I've read, she was a pretty decent person.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear that she got in trouble. I didn't hear really anything negative. And the motto of her, let me see. Where's this at? Where love begins. So that's the motto of your business, where love begins. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why a mother would just abandon kids like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
They, like I said, man, the police saying the kids weren't registered for school. There was no food in the house except dried beans and some spices. So pretty much nobody can find her, and she's wanted on 2 counts of abandoning or endangering a child without the intent to return.
Right.
No less than 2 years, but a max of up to 20 years and a $10,000 fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this is good that the kids nobody was harmed.
Right.
They didn't say that the kids were malnourished or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it has a semi-happy ending for the children. As far as the mother and the fathers are concerned, I don't know what's going on with that situation. Mm-hmm. But this is one story that I've talked about on the pod that I'm going to continue to research.
Right.
Because I'm sorry, it just doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, do you think she might have had a mental break of some kind?
You know what? Now, I don't know how true this information is. Like I said, I was going to different blog sites and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So apparently I don't know if it's a close friend or like a family member came out and says that she suffers from mental illness. But the reason I didn't really mention that is just because, right now there's people that just want, to go viral, and they just come out, probably don't even know this young lady.
Right.
But a lot of people are saying that he came out, I think it was a brother came out and said she suffers from mental illness. A lot of women are in the comment sections and they're saying, well, hey, it could be, what is that called? Postpartum depression?
Right.
A lot of women are saying that she could be suffering from that. But like I said, before any child was released to family members, mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure you and I both, and anybody that's watching this video, have seen enough episodes of Law and Order where they don't just release kids, to family members. They gotta interview the kids. How was she treating you? Did your mom ever abuse you, or what was going on? So through all the different articles that I've read and all the news clips that I've watched, they didn't say that the kids were malnourished. They didn't say they had any bruises on them or anything. They're, like I said, the story is very vague. There's not a lot of information on there, but the mother posts, she leaves the kids, she's posting on social media. The kids, one of the kids' father went down there because her mother called. He goes down there, he calls the police, and then she stops posting. There's warrants out for her arrest in Texas and in Alabama, I assume. They said 2 different states. So, I don't know, but I'm going to keep up. Now, as far back as an hour ago, that was what? About 4 o'clock. The mother still has not been found.
Well, I mean, it's easy to hide if you're not using no credit cards or, you know, stuff like that. It's easy to hide if you know, if you don't, even if, like, you know, if you don't use, like, where you can be tracked, it's easy. If you just paying cash for everything or somebody else is fronting you, you know, it's easy to hide.
That's what, see, oh my God, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist or nothing, man, but that's the thing. Usually, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying, we watch enough episodes of Law and Order, and we watch a little true crime with my mom and stuff like that.
Right.
Usually they say bank accounts was cleared out and the business is closed.
Exactly.
And friends were saying she was acting erratic, and she talked to her friend and said she was going to close down the business for a little while.
Right.
None of that happened. But nobody reported that any of this stuff happened.
Right.
So I'm going to leave my kids in a house. Now, like I said, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. But one thing that they did say on the clip, she had a 14-year-old daughter that ran away. I don't know, this make it seem a little worse. Hey, I'm going to find your sister. I'll be back. But then that can't happen because she was posting on social media. And now the one bad, I guess the bad thing that they did post to her, it was like they were just, I don't know if they went on her Facebook and Instagram and they just got random pictures of her. Because the way they was making it seem is she was actually posting pictures of herself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That doesn't necessarily mean that's what she was doing. I don't know. We can sit here and speculate all day.
True.
Because nobody knows exactly what's going on. I pray for her safe return, even if this turns out and she turns out to be a dirtbag, or whatever, and she just left the kids in the house and she just had a mental breakdown or was like, F those kids or whatever. Like, I still want her to be found.
Yeah, that would
safely and alive so she can get the help that she needs. Because so many times I realize what we do as human beings. We're addicted to the drama and the negativity. We get online, we see half of a story or whatever. We don't know what is going on, but we'll just start bashing the parents, bashing the mother, bashing the dad. And we don't know what that person has gone through.
Right.
So I think, yes, this looks a little bad. But to shoot her a little bail, they didn't say that the kids were malnourished or abused or anything. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. So it's like how did they put together the timeline as well?
I don't know.
Because
I don't know.
Did Miss Yates' mother say, hey, I saw it in September? I mean, I don't know how they pieced together this timeline. And most of these $500,000 houses, these new houses now, they have Ring doorbells. None of her neighbors had a Ring doorbell to find out, like, when she left, if anybody was going on. If, you know, anything like that. It's just a lot of stuff that's missing. So like I said, 2 counts of abandoning or endangering a child without intent to return. If convicted, she could face up to 20 years and a $10,000 fine. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think in the comments below. What do y'all think? What would possess a mother to leave a 12-year-old and a 3-year-old in the house.
Tune in to the Mitchell Hour, baby.
You tune in to the Mitchell Hour, baby. Yeah.